Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again, and this time we are looking at a bit of an article through CBR, and let's see how they grasp 10 straws of this supposed great romance between John Samuel Kent and Jay. My goodness. Don't get me wrong, but CBR can, on the rare occasion, get some really good articles up. And I will give some credit to where it's due. In regards to this one, you can definitely see that they're grasping at straws, just to solidify and validate everything that Tom Taylor is doing at Destroyed Comics. At this rate, that's what it should be called, Destroyed Comics. Not DC Comics, but Destroyed Comics. So, moving on, they bring up the comic history of Jonathan Kent is a convoluted tale that includes a tale of pages of time travel and the aging up of Superboy into Superman in just 3 weeks after his time in the Super Sons and the Legion of Superheroes, and years locked away in a volcano with Ultraman when he finally returned to his semi-normal life. Son of Kal-El is written by Tom Taylor and John Timms and follows the now adult John. Where'd you get the adult part from? Because according to Tom Taylor, John Samuel Kent isn't quite an adult yet. He'd have to at least be aged one more year to be classed or seen as an adult. To which, in technicality, according to Tom Taylor, he is 17 years old, and he's not quite a Superman, let alone a super adult, as his father heads off to his death to save Metropolis. And of course he hands over the mantle of Superman to him. His adventures led him to meet Jay Nakamura, a journalist, a posthuman or a metahuman, who became John's boyfriend as of issue 5. Well, we haven't even seen issue 5 yet. So in technicality, it doesn't make him the boyfriend. Okay, big fat lie number 1 in place number 10. Jay is John's longest romance. Really? If you think 5 issues constitutes a romance, let alone a date, you need to wake up. That's not how dates work, let alone romances. While there has been lots of backlash from the vocal minority since John's bisexuality was confirmed, it should be noted that Jay is the only second character to share an actual romance. While there was a kiss on the cheek from a magic user named Rora from the 16th century during Challenge of the Super Sons, that never amounted to anything. I wonder why? Because you're pulling at a straw that doesn't need to be pulled at. And when he caught up with her in the future, she was, I don't know, over 10 times older than what he was. Unless you're trying to subtly signify something that you're actually into. His next and more significant relationship was with Saturn Girl in the Legion of Superheroes. Yes, he knew her, but it wasn't actually a date. Again, big problems. But that relationship only lasted 2 issues. Maybe because it was more of a friendship than an actual relationship. That happens too. But that makes John's relationship with Jay the longest so far. And the most impactful. Really? I think he had more days with Kathy than what he had with Jay in the Superman run by Peter J. Tomasi. But you're ignoring that fact. We get ya. Alright, you want to help the cover sales. They met on John's first day of school. Yeah, what about it? So did Damien and John when Damien was, observing John. Because he thought he would be a threat. And he ended up in the Batcave because of Damien's actions. And later leading to the trial of the Super Sons. But you're ignoring that. The first time Jay is met on panel is issue 2, using his brand new disguise as Finn Connors, similar to the various Kent identities, though this time with a blonde wig, has just shown up to his new college on the first day. 1,000 of teens congregate of the doors of Metropolis College. John runs into Jay, who is signing people for a media department, while we have two brief conversations. John has to jump into action as a shooter begins, who is a self-insert of Tom Taylor himself, that shooter, and begins firing on the students. Jay even returns to John's Finn's wig before John takes off carrying the Jeep to the moon. 8. Jay is the masked journalist called the Truth. Wow, who the F cares? Introduced in the first issue, John becomes intertwined with an underground journalist known as the Truth, introduced by several scenes of John watching the stream on his phone. The Truth gives plenty of exposition on the first major event of John Kent's tenure as Superman. Well, got a problem there. John was still known as Superboy in that time period, in this Superman run. So in technicality, he is Superboy, not Superman. And that didn't happen until issue 4, or issue 3 to 4, to which Superman did end up leaving, and then the mantle was handed to him. My goodness, this particular CBR article is horrible. He tells a boatload of asylum seekers from a fictional country of Gamora, not confused with the Guardian of the Galaxy hero Gamora, that is sinking in the ocean without help. This stirs John into action. Jay, as the Truth, meets John afterward, exposing his own identity in the process. Oh, now this is a grasping of a huge straw. Damien introduced them, kind of. John paid a visit to Damian Wayne. his best and only friend in the entire world. While Damien is currently fighting for his life in the Death Games type scenario, he took some time to meet his old friend in a small town. Though the pair do have to fight ninjas, after Damien gives him some hard-hitting advice and blatantly tells him that he needs more friends, he also gives him a link to the underground stream called The Truth. No, you're taking that out of order. Oh my goodness. That means, by technicality, that Damien put Jay on John's radar, providing further proof that Damien is always going to be John's wingman, or the third wheel. Number 6, they protested together. Yeah, what about it? After saving another post-human out of control, out of their powers, John gets a call from Jay telling him to go downtown to Metropolis, where a protest had begun after he saved the refugees from Gomorrah, the Gomoran president named Henry Bendix, originating from the Wildstorm universe, demanding them back, labeling them as escaped prisoners. John shows up at the protest, where he stops a cop from beating a protester, then demands that he be arrested, along with the protesters. After an impassioned speech, he is taken off to jail. Yeah, what about it? Also happens to celebrities, if that's what you're trying to point out. Jay tried to bail John out of prison. I wonder where he got those funds from. Maybe Henry Bendix? While John sat in jail for 45 minutes of hard time, he eventually was let out the cell, all along with other protesters picking him up, along with his dad Superman, who approves of his behaviour. Well, not really. Not the Tom Taylor Superman, but if you have a look, Superman, even throughout Superman history, has even disciplined, for example, Connor Kent for some of his actions. You've also got the examples of Bruce Wayne doing it to members of the Bat family. So, in other words, you're just telling us that we're getting an out-of-character Superman. It turns out that Jay was on his way to the police station to bail John out, and he felt responsible for getting him. By calling him, Jay nervously notes that to bail John out any time, but he doesn't think it would happen. Number 4, Jay geeked out over meeting Lois Lane and Superman. I'm sorry, I just have a picture of you on my wall. Yeah, you sound more like a friggin' stalker. Especially when he points out, not in a weird way. Yes, whatever. On meeting Superman, Jay had a minor slip that was caused by nervousness. Nervousness, my butt. This person is a schemer. But overall, handled himself well, even getting asked over for dinner by the Man of Steel when he meets Lois Lane. Another error in this. After he met up with Lois Lane, he walked away from the scene and he said something like, "Do you have a barn for me to hide in?" As if expecting something to arrive. and even saying, I shouldn't be here. Yeah, I remember the issue very well. When he finally starts talking, he cannot stop telling Lois that he has a picture on the wall, and aside from that, asking if he could hide in a bar out of shame. He explains that he is an up-and-coming journalist, and he idolizes to be one of the greatest journalists of all time. Their first date was with Ma and Pa Kent. Well, another problem, it is not technically a date, unless it's stated as a date. It's not even a play date. Of course, the validation is strong with this one. After meeting Superman and Lois Lane, Jay is finally able to attend the dinner table that he was invited to. However, Superman and Lois take off as Superman is heading off to face his fate and die, leaving only Jay and Jonathan and Martha. And as Martha asks John to set the table, she tells Jay to relax and enjoy the night. As dinner starts, Jonathan asks Jay about his story, which is the first time the fans learn that he's from Gamora. Yeah, what about it? As Jay continued to speak, telling the story, Narita isn't privy that John is in a time lapse as he begins to hear the Kent's house explode, starting with a single crack. John, at super speed, thinks about what to do by grabbing the Kents to take them outside, but in a double page split into 5 panels, the readers watch John watch the post-human from earlier flatline, some crashing through the roof with Martha and John under his arms. He reaches out to grab Jay but finds out a secret. John discovers Jay's power by accident. Yes, and please take note that you've used a perfect image that shows how much Jay is acting more like a villain than a hero. Because if he had been a real hero, especially in this comic universe, don't you think that he would have gone out of his way to help save the Kents as well? Oh, no. Tom Taylor doesn't like LGBTQ IQ whatever superheroes. No. He could have revealed that secret, but he didn't. So he's not a hero, he's a villain. And he's smiling even as John attempts to grab him. In addition to his untold story of being from Gamora, John learns another fact about Jay. He's a post-human with one of those powers seeming to be intangibility. John reaches out his hand and it goes through his face before he'd be okay and flying through out the house. After John Kent's confrontation with the Justice League, Jay casually walks out of the wreckage. Jay tries to make a speech about his power, but John interrupts him. Then two meet up with Erie and Wink, who fans remember from Deceased, who they say they got all their powers from an experiment. My goodness, another long video once again showing how desperate DC Comics is to get these cover sales in regards to this new fake DC Pride Superman Son of Kal-El run. Well, until then, Let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.